Hey guys, welcome back. It is round 4 of the Rainbow Cup. This weekend there's a coastal derby and then the inland derby as well. The Sharks versus the Stormers this weekend poses to be a big one. The Stormers getting their first victory last weekend. The Sharks getting their first loss last weekend. So both teams are on different sides of the spectrum this week around. Both teams made a couple of changes to their starting teams. If you do look at both sides, the Stormers, they are strengthened quite a bit. The Sharks made a couple of tactical changes as well to their side because they lost to the Bulls last week. Up front, not a lot of changes. When you get to the front row, it's the two Springbok front rows that goes up against each other again. Last time out, I think the Stormers did get the upper hand when they did lose by 3 points, I think, to the Sharks in round 1. Though, according to SA Rugby magazine, the Sharks front row was better. I do think the Stormers front row of Kitsoff and Malherbe, that front row is just so strong. Joined by Mbunambi, scrum time, they're just better. Oxenchair, both of them have been doing a good job though. They have been out-scrummed a couple of weekends though as well. Last week especially when Nyakane and Kuboka came on from the Bulls. Mbata, he has a big task at line-out time. Again, he's struggled a couple of weekends as well to find his jumpers. Schikkeling and Ori being number 4 and 5, they are back from their injuries. Ori back from his concussion. So that does strengthen their side. JJ van der Mescht, he comes in the number 4 position. That's to add a bit of weight behind the props' backs. And then Hichu, who's just been scoring a bunch of tries this year at number 5. Then number 6, Siya Kolisi, he's up against his previous team yet again. Willie Engelbrecht, he moves from 7 to 6. That's also a big shift from them as well. So at the moment, the Stormers doesn't really have someone to play over the ball and steal it at breakdown time. But the Sharks also don't really have someone that really specializes in that. So breakdown time, we'll see who actually goes and steals this week around. Pieter-Steph du Toit, he's back at number 7. So Engelbrecht and du Toit, both of them pretty similar players. Pieter-Steph, they did miss him last week as well, though Engelbrecht did fill his shoes quite well. Bolly, he comes in at number 7. That is because Nochas injured himself at number 8. Unfortunately, it's a big injury for him. So Venter moves from 7 to 8. Evan Ruiz at number 8 for the Stormers. He's also been quite impressive so far this year. He plays against his previous team. Herschel Jantjies at number 9. Last week he showed what he can still do. He was good for the Stormers. He kind of showed what they were missing in him. Jaden Hendrikse, I think probably the third choice number 9 in South Africa at the moment for the Springboks. Herschel Jantjies is traditionally the third choice. So these two have a big battle in their hands because whoever outplays the other one is probably going to be in that Lions squad, in my opinion. There's a lot of other guys also throwing their names in the hat. Abner van Reenen at number 10, he continues. I do think Swiel, when he did come on to the park for the Stormers, things were a bit more consistent, though they say Swiel is carrying a bit of a niggle, so they continue with van Reenen at number 10. He does look like he can read a bunch of spaces for the team as well, and one of those guys that just does crazy things on the park as well, but he's not there yet, not at the level where a guy like Kerwin Bosch is maybe yet. So it's a big fight for him as well, because Bosch is also a guy that really wants his name in that Lions tournament. So this is a great time for him to show himself as well. Rikus Pretorius, who had a brilliant game last week, is one of those workhorses for the Stormers as well. A lot of times you don't notice how many breakthroughs he makes, how many guys he pulls in as well, like a guy like Damien de Allende used to do for the Stormers at number 12. Marius Lowe, he comes in at number 12 for the Sharks, and I think that's a very good move from them because they missed an out-and-out 12. Ward the last couple of weeks for them, he hasn't been shifting the ball quite as well as he should for a number 12. He isn't a traditional number 12, and their defense also is shifting a little bit too wide, so there is a tendency to have gaps on the inside when Ward is there. So Lowe, being a number 12, is in a right spot there. He is a hard hitter, so Pretorius might have a big clash there. Ruan Nel, the number 13, comes back for the Stormers. That is their best number 13. Is probably their only out-and-out number 13. He comes in for Du Plessis, who scored 2 tries last week. A lot of people are calling him to start again. I'm going to be a bit controversial, but he didn't have the best game. If you just look at how he played, there was a lot of missed passes, a lot of overthrows. He didn't tackle too well. He was out of position a couple of times on defense as well. and that is just because he isn't an out-and-out number 13. He's actually a number 12. He did round off a couple of good tries, so like Dobson said, that was an awkward conversation to have to leave out the 2-try the scoring player from last week. But I think against a guy like Lucanio he might have been had a difficult game. Ruanel, he's the obvious choice then to have against who is also looking like he's getting back into form. Nkosi, he is starting this week. Last week he would have started, but was pulled out of the game just before it. Pinke, he's in number 11. And then the two wingers for the Stormers, Sergil Peterson and then Edwil van der Merwe. Wow, he announced himself to everyone last week around. Probably no one really noticed him before that. Last week he beat 11 defenders and scored a couple of tries with it as well. Such a live wire of the ball. And now we just want to see him get more ball. And that is where a good number 13 also comes in. Damien Willems at number 15 also had a brilliant game last week. And that just proves what a number 15 can do if he has the right back three with him, the right wingers as well with him. And a guy like Edwil van der Merwe really read exactly what Willems wanted to do. Willems versus Fassi is also a big game because both of them also gunning for a Springbok spot. Fassi, he's been beating defenders left and right as well. Defense-wise, he will want to prove this week what he can do against a guy like Edwil van der Merwe and Willems challenging him as well. Then on the two benches, both benches are strong, especially that front rows. Mchunu, very quick prop as well. Vermaak and Fushia, very strong front row to bring on for the Stormers as well. Kieran van Vieren, the preferred hooker in my opinion for the Sharks. And Tubeni, a very good hooker as well for the Stormers. Then the Stormers, they also do have a 6-2 split there with Arends van Ryn and Audrey Smith, the Griquas player. Last year he was still playing for the Griquas, that number 20 of the Stormers. Both Van Ryn and Smith are lock flank combinations. Augustus, the number 8 and number 21. So that's a big pack that they can bring on. And then, like I said, Swiel has brought a bit of calmness every time he comes onto the park. Ruben van Heerden, he's been brilliant at line-out time. They also bring on Nohamba, Lubbock and Kok to the back line for the Sharks there. So in my opinion, I do think it's going to be a very close one, a very tough one to call as well. Who's going to win? You have to look at the big battles over here. I think the front row, the Stormers might have it here. Second row might be a pretty even one. The fact that there is no breakdown master over here, I think their loose forward battle might belong a little bit to the Stormers as well. Number 10, Bosch is probably a little bit better. And the rest of the back line, both teams have been good. Especially the Stormers last week, they showed what a guy like Van der Merwe can do. Guys, going into a prediction here, I think the Sharks will win it by 2 points, just beating the Stormers. But it can go either way. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Also, check out these videos next to me. Hit the subscribe button if you do like the channel. And then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.